In this video, I was given 6 shiny crate keys and a truckload of rare candies to try and see if I could beat every gym on the Oasis Pixelmon server. I was gonna try to do this in one go with a team of mystery shiny Pokemon. Was I able to do it? Let's see what happened. When I first got on the server, I used the shiny crate keys to roll for a guaranteed team of shiny Pokemon. My first roll got me a shiny Cyndaquil, and my second got me a Chikorita. It was by the third spin when I got a Turtwig that I noticed that I was getting lucky pulling a bunch of starter Pokemon. On my fourth spin, I now had all 3 of the Johto starters once Totodile joined the squad. Filling out my team though, that streak ended when I got a Smoochum. And with my final key, I got a Krogunk, but it went to the PC. I then headed to the Pokemon Center, and just as I was about to swap out my Piplup for my final shiny pull, Waddle offered to trade me his shiny Piplup that he had gotten from one of the crates, which I agreed to. I knew it was kind of breaking the rules just a little bit by having this Piplup on my team, but can you blame me? My boy's too cute to be torn out of the team just like that. So instead, I bent the rules just a little and had 1 extra shiny to choose from instead. I then checked the /gym command and saw that I had 8 gyms that I needed to conquer to complete my challenge. Using my rare candies, I then went in on training up my team. Afterward, a guy named LunifX tried challenging me, but I figured I wasn't ready. Plus, my mind was on the gym anyway, so I declined his request, and he seemed pretty nice. After getting most of my team up to level 25, which was the level cap for the Rock Gym, I went out and challenged Bruce. Due to the type advantage, I went with my Croconaw as the leading pick. His first Pokemon was Graveler, so a quick water gun managed to sink his HP bar down before it could even do anything. With his mood dampened, he sent out his Lunatone, which was more than a match for my boy, unfortunately. Luckily, my team had plenty of pokes that were good against rock types, so my Bayleaf was put up against his Moon Boy. But it ended up taking serious damage. It was after I sent out Krogunk that I realized that the levels of my Pokemon will actually scale down to whatever the level cap of the gym is. Since my Krogunk was level 30 something, the rules of the gym brought him down to level 25 like the rest of the Pokemon in the battle. That was very useful information to have for my future on the server. Unfortunately, at this point, I saw that there wasn't much else for me to do, and my entire team pretty much ended up getting completely wrecked. My challenge ended in failure. For now. Back at the Pokemon Center after my crushing defeat, a player by the name of Draco Meatshield said he'd give me a Zamazenta if I battled him. I didn't even have to win, so I went ahead and accepted his challenge. Honestly, I assumed that my Pokemon were going to stay level 25s, so without even paying attention, I just started hitting moves at random to get the match over with. It wasn't until a few moves in that I noticed that my Pokemon were scaled to his level, so they were now level 100 for this battle. I began to try more after noticing this, but it proved useless with the way that my team currently was. After losing, I traded my shiny Smoochum for the Zamazenta, and then after catching a random Roggenrola, I got my Smoochum back. After this, I fed more rare candies to my Pokemon now that I knew about the level scaling mechanic on the server. I was about to try the gym challenge again, fully aware of how to increase my chances of winning. My rematch with Bruce was on. This time, my entire team was fully evolved thanks to the rare candy training. I set up a Reflect with my Meganium and it tanked the Graveler's self-destruct easily. Bruce sent out his Lunatone again, and this time, it was taken out quite easily. In fact, this time around, Meganium was more than enough for Bruce's entire team because, as you can see, they couldn't really do much to it. By the end of the match, it was a clean sweep. Oh, I think this is as good of a time as any to say that if you want to have your own fun on this server, all you have to do is join using the information in the description down below or on the screen. To get on, I installed Forge 1.12.2 and the Pixelmon mod. From there, I just needed the server IP, which is play.mc-oasis.com. Okay, now back to the challenge. Next up, I challenged the Ice Gym leader, Abigail. Typhlosion was my first pick due to the type matchup, but after Dugong was sent out, I got a little nervous. Luckily, her Dugong got smokescreened to the point where it just couldn't even keep up with my Flaming Beast. With the Glaceon that came out next, I just flame charged it a bunch, and once it went down, she sent out a cast form that ended my Typhlosion's run, unfortunately. Next up was Feraligatr, who quickly dealt with cast form, but her Abomasnow proved to be a huge threat. With a fear-filled stance, I sent out my Empoleon, and its steel typing let it fight back against this ice and grass type. This time, a Piloswine managed to defeat the Pokemon that I had already had out. This pattern did not persist though, thanks to my Jinx finishing off her final Pokemon. The Water Gym leader, Alex, was up next. I decided to lead with my Meganium, and he led with Greninja. It was at this point that I noticed that the Pokemon levels didn't scale upward when fighting gyms, so my level 36 was tangoing with a level 45 poke. Luckily, my second grass type, Torterra, was putting in work on this guy's team. That is, until Lapras came out and shot its ice attacks at it. With its ability to heal back up, it then had a war of attrition against my Empoleon before ultimately going down to its constant metal clawing. His Lantern was up next, and it definitely thought that it was going to do something important, like hold down the fort or something, but my Jinx's psychic attacks made light work of it, and the Gyarados that came after didn't stand a chance either. After this gym battle, I used more rare candies to keep my levels up high to contest the threats to come. Cornelius, the Electric-type gym leader, was who I had my eyes set on next. Like usual, my strat was to start off with a type advantage, so Torterra was the first one out. This proved to be the best move after I was able to one-shot the Raichu he had sent out. From there, I decided to use Leech Seed and Giga Drains more often. It was honestly because I was getting a little cocky, but otherwise I had opportunities to just continue to Earthquake while using Giga Drains to keep myself up every so often. But yeah, I wanted to be a little fancy with it. When his Electrode was sent out, I figured he'd self-destruct, so I sent out Feraligatr to tank the hit. Afterward, Torterra was back out continuing his battle. He got taken down pretty low by the Ampharos, but managed to stay in the fight. And when his last Pokemon, Jolteon, was sent out, a singular Earthquake was enough to seal the win for me. Moving on up through the ranks, Ryan, the Fire Gym leader, was my next opponent. I chose to start off with Empoleon and was greeted with a Camerupt. After my Hydro Pump knocked it out, Ryan sent out his Infernape, and I made the foolish decision of staying in even though I knew Infernape's speed was gonna outspeed my speed. One super effective Brick Rake took my boy down for the count. Feraligatr didn't have the same weakness though, so it was up to him to keep the Water-type Dominance dream alive during this battle. Quickly, it was easy to see that this was going to be the case as each of Ryan's Pokemon were brought down to size by my Gator Boy. Unfortunately, he was taken down at the very end of the battle, but Jinx once again cleaned up the little that was left to be done. After the Fire Gym, I was in the presence of Bella, the Psychic-type gym leader. Unfortunately, I didn't have a type advantage for her besides the move Crunch on my Feraligatr, so he was the one that I sent out first. Gardevoir being a fairy type didn't help with that though, as it made it so it didn't actually take super effective damage, just neutral damage. For whatever reason, she switched to Alakazam though, and that allowed me to get a nice solid hit on it. From there, I switched Feraligatr out just in case I needed to use it in some serious crunch time later. See what I did there? And I sent out Empoleon instead because its Steel-type nature would help tank some psychic attacks. In reaction to this, Bella sent out her Hypno, who managed to tank the Aqua Jet meant for Alakazam. It didn't even occur to me how many times this gym leader was switching out Pokemon though, because soon after the Hypno switch, she had an Espeon out. When up against my Torterra, I was hoping to set up a Leech Seed to keep myself up, but I definitely should have just ended up attacking with something hard like Earthquake or something because my Torterra ended up on the wrong end of the battle as it ended up getting defeated. Meganium thankfully finished it off for me, but Bella sent out Hypno and broke the Sleep Claws after putting another Pokemon to sleep after having already used Hypnosis on my Empoleon earlier in the battle. From here, Typhlosion needed to come in and roast some ham in order to turn the tides in favor of my side a little bit more. But when I switched to Jinx to try to put some of her stuff to sleep, Bella sent out Hypno, who not only has the ability Insomnia, so it can't be put to sleep, but then proceeded to Hypnosis my Jinx as well. I decided to keep it in though, so I just waited until it woke back up and blizzarded the Hypno, finally taking it out. Alakazam was sent back out and made light work of Jinx, and we were now down to our last Pokemon each. Empoleon was asleep, but was resistant enough to stay in the fight long enough to wake up and win the match for the team using an Aqua Jet. This was by far the toughest match yet. Now that I was down to the final two gyms, I needed to once again beef up my pokes for the final stage of this challenge. The Flying type gym leader, Ace, was next. My Typhlosion came face to face with his Hawlucha. In hopes of a quick burn, I went for a Flamethrower, but it ended up getting tanked by his Dragonite instead. This fearsome dragon went ahead and proceeded to demolish my Typhlosion, so I sent out Feraligatr in order to land a solid Ice Fang on it. With it down, his defensive tank, Skarmory, came out to block my way toward victory. I ended up switching to Empoleon, and this ended up working out well. It managed to do quite considerable damage to Ace's Salamence. This put Feraligatr in a position to do some serious damage as it ripped through Skarmory as well as her Noctowl. Her Hawlucha had to step back into the fight, and this thing was a menace. Feraligatr was down, so I sent out Jinx, but it soon took care of her as well. I was getting very worried because all I had was grass types left. Torterra was out next, and I used Leech Seed as a way to try my best to keep Meganium alive, as it was going to be my last chance. With my final Pokemon out, I was afraid of getting one-shotted, so I went with a Reflect to beef up my physical defenses. And luckily, that choice stopped Sky Attack from one-shotting me. From there, I released a Petal Dance and took care of the fearsome foe. Finally, she sent out her Pelipper, but with another swift Petal Dance from Meganium, it was enough to one-shot it. That was an even harder battle than the last one that I had. Finally though, I had reached my final hurdle. The fighting type gym leader, the Team Skull Grunt. Why is that? It just had, one of the grunts just decided, yeah, you know, screw this organization. I'm gonna keep the name. I don't got a real name, so I'm gonna just go ahead and keep the name, but like, I'm gonna be a gym leader. I'm gonna be the best gym leader. Guzma, get on my level. Anyway, I started off with Meganium in order to set up a bit for my team. When the Infernape switch happened though, I sent out my Empoleon. Something in me wanted a rematch between these two Pokemon, but I quickly thought rationally about how that was a bad move. Sure, I could get in a quick Aqua Jet, but the Brick Break would probably one-shot me again afterward. Yeah, but I did it anyway. I then sent out Feraligatr, who proceeded to just beat on that Grunt's Conkeldurr without even getting hit a single time. Next up was his Pangoro, who caught the hands as well. The Alligator Boy was out here putting in major work. Infernape tried to get in a one-hit combo on him, but it didn't work out as the Skull Grunt expected, and his Monkey Boy was taken out as well. That was the end of Feraligator's fun though, because Lucario came out of that ball swinging. I tried to utilize Torterra's Earthquake to put Lucario in its place, but a well-timed switch into another Hawlucha made me miss it. I knew what kind of carnage would be coming for me if I kept Torterra in again, so Typhlosion needed to come out for this matchup. Luckily, this Hawlucha was not nearly as menacing as the other one I fought, and I was able to put it in its place. Machamp came up next, and Typhlosion and him had a good back and forth. One solid enough that Torterra was able to come in there and finish things off. Finally, Lucario came out, and I figured I had it in the bag. But then for some reason, I used Leech Seed, and what was I thinking? What is wrong with me? I figured that I was going to lose. However, I had faith in my Jinx's psychic powers, and that faith ended up getting rewarded because I took out the final gym leader and won the challenge. Hey guys, I just wanted to thank everyone for watching the video, and I also want to thank the sponsor of this video, which is this server in and of itself. This Oasis server reached out to me to play on their Pixelmon server, and I said, why not? So here I am playing on a new Pixelmon server for a while. Let's see how this one goes. I hope you guys really enjoyed the video, and I will be making more very shortly. So thanks for watching. Thanks for being patient. See you later. Bye.